Hey, Weekly Wrestling Heat. We're back with episode 2 of the new 2022 season. And guess who we have on the show today? Matt!
Hello.
Morning Hookah. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show. You don't got to welcome me. I know exactly what the show is. This is Weekly Wrestling Heat, the one-stop drop for all your wrestling news, reviews, and interesting opinions, topics, and sometimes the wrong hot take, but usually not by the one, the only Moise joining us as well. I've learned to always trust what Moise has to say with the hot take. How are you doing, Moise?
Pretty good. We've seen you more recently on our show than we've seen this guy on AEW.
Yeah, who's that guy? I don't even know. I don't even recognize the name Cage. Are you talking about Christian Cage?
No, I'm talking about Brian.
I thought he's part-time. He's got the Bill Goldberg deal in AEW. It's a joke, guys. Come on, laugh.
I need to see him on my TV because if they're not going to do anything with him, I think he could easily step into that WWE main event picture.
I don't see how he I don't know if he could just step into the main event picture. I think I don't know if because he's definitely not WWE style in terms of the way that they book big men. Like look at Apollo Crews, right? Like why did Apollo Crews fail in WWE?
But he's already gone through the training because he was in FCW originally.
He does have a background in that overall style. That's something that's interesting that happened to me over these last couple of weeks. So I watch AEW primarily for the most part. Hi, my name is Matt. Morning Hookah is the YouTube show that I run on the internets, and I'm a big fan of professional wrestling. I've been watching wrestling since the early I've been watching like old school wrestling from like the 70s, 80s, 90s, all that kind of stuff. But like I grew up with WWE, I grew up with WCW, ECW, and stuff like that. And over the last few years, I've stopped watching a ton of wrestling, and then AEW came into the vogue, and I watched a lot more wrestling. So I watch a lot of AEW wrestling. That is the main thing that I consume. I watch
and he
NXT.
Dives into WWE right here.
And then at the beginning, exactly. So what I do every single year without fail, on January, I start absorbing more WWE content, getting ready for the Royal Rumble. And then I will watch all the way up into WrestleMania, and then depending on how good that 3-month span is of watching it, depends if I keep watching it again. And to me, after WrestleMania last year, which did a good job, and then WWE WrestleMania Backlash, I thought did a poor job of continuing storylines in the way that I wanted it booked. Like first and foremost, this is all fucking opinion, obviously. So like, don't lose your britches over just opinions of 3 dudes on the internet, obviously, but like just trying to enjoy wrestling. I did not like the booking. That was my personal opinion. So like I didn't continue watching WWE after WrestleMania Backlash, and I primarily just watched AEW. I'm very caught up on AEW.
You dive into the big 5 though, right? Like Survivor, adding Money in the Bank as the 5th one. You dive in, right?
Yeah. I mean, I watch all wrestling. There's nothing that I don't watch. I watch Impact when Moise tells me to watch Impact that week. I watch MLW on a semi-regular basis when they're more consistent with posting stuff on their YouTube page. I watch AEW obviously, but like I don't dive head deep into anything particular. Like I don't watch AEW Dark or Evolution.
Matt,
I don't watch that.
I have a question about you that I'm going to ask Elias, and I don't want you to answer until we see you next week.
Okay.
Elias, is he going to watch Hard to Kill first, or is he going to watch Battle of the Belts first? Because they're both on Saturday.
I think he's going to watch Battle of the Belts before he watches Hard to Kill.
I probably will not watch Hard to Kill. I probably will not.
I'm going to be there.
Oh, you're going to be on Hard to Kill? You're going to be in one of the matches?
Yeah, I told Elias if Cardona's getting double teamed by Big Kaz and Moose, I'm going to run in and make the save.
Making him note. Watch Hard to Kill. Who does that one? Watch
Impact.
The Owl. Okay. Watch Hard to Kill.
I
haven't heard that in a minute.
Matt, I think you will be very impressed because I think the women in the X Division match are very good. It's the first ever women's X Division match. I think that's something that you could get into, the X Division and stop the Ultimate X match.
I feel like I'm pretty even keel when it comes to the majority of wrestling, and I'm like the first person to admit that like I don't watch a lot of these people and their stories, and it's hard to get into characters that you don't have like a good understanding of like their battles and their progression and the uphills and stuff like that, and the peaks and the valleys. So like it's hard for me to watch Impact because I watch so little of Impact that it is difficult for me to get into the matches. It is. I like 100%.
I do watch Impact, but I'm kind of with you. Like I feel like me and you, from what we talk, me and you are most invested in Cardona's storyline, right?
I know him because I know Zack Ryder, right? Like I know, I like this is a character that I feel like has, even though he's changed his name because WWE owns everything that you walk on, he's still Zack Ryder. Like he's become a more mature, a more hardcore, quote unquote, a tougher version of Zack Ryder. And like I enjoyed his transition when he became the king of the death match and stuff. Like I've liked watching what he's done with his personality and everything. So like I will watch him because I feel like I have an understanding of him. But when it comes to a lot of the women in Impact, man, I don't think I could name. I couldn't name anybody off the top of my head.
I'll tell you, all you need to watch is Deonna and Chelsea Green. I think.
Oh, Chelsea Green. I know Chelsea Green. Okay. I'm sold.
And you haven't watched that much of Deonna yet, right?
Of who?
Deonna Purrazzo. Oh, her and Mickey have a Texas death match on Saturday.
I don't like death matches. I don't like death matches.
Ooh, so this is gonna be interesting to see then, because yesterday's match between Hangman and Bryan Danielson was kind of a little.
I don't like death matches, but I have no problem with a strong style. It was very strong style. I would never call what they did a death match personally.
I know your level, your tolerance for a level of blood is to a limit, so that's why. It's gonna be interesting getting your take on it.
It is, but I'll still watch Zoma 23 when my brother shared those events with us, and I watched that Mexican backyard, not backyard. What's it called? Where they're inside like an industrial thing. Yeah, like that was bonkers. Like, but it was like so bonkers that it was like hard for me to look away, even though like it was not like my cup of tea to watch. Like I was still like, I'm gonna finish this. Like I've already got this far into it.
I'm invested in it. Now I'm gonna finish watching this.
Exactly. Even if it's like bad for my health to watch it.
Speaking of hard to watch, let's dive right into AEW, and then we'll get back on Hard to Kill next week.
Maybe.
So all right, let's hop into it. Yesterday's was AEW's debut on TBS. Did very good in the ratings, over a million in their TBS debut, which is big for them, being that this is a new channel. So sometimes
not counting DVR numbers, so I'm hoping
not counting DVR numbers. So so this is a big thing for AEW. I will give them the credit on that because of the fact that since they're going into this new TV show, which, you know, regardless of what we know, it's still big for them. So going into it, first match that kicked off the show was the Bryan Danielson versus Adam Page Part 2. What were your overall thoughts of the match itself? I myself thought it was a good match, good pace. I thought that they definitely saw the end of the match coming about like 5-10 minutes before it ended. I was surprised that it ended at a 35-minute mark, which was pretty good for me. I was entertained. And I honestly thought that this match was better than the first one they had, specifically.
I thought that this match was miles ahead of their first match, honestly. I think that this one had a better pacing. I thought it had a much interesting diversity of movement and moves overall. I thought that this match showed off Bryan Danielson's submission style far better than the first match. I thought this showed off Hangman Page's ability to make big moves out of like seemingly surprising situations. A much better job. Like this match was the match that we should have got the first time. Had this match been the first match, right? And then they were building to the second match, I would have been way more excited for this match, which is funny because like I like this match more, and I even felt more invested into this match the longer that it went in. I did not feel the same way you did about feeling like it was getting ready to end about 5 minutes into it, or 5 minutes before the end. I felt like it was still going to go a little bit longer. Like I had the opposite reaction to this match than I did the first match. The first match, when it ended, I was like, oh, I'm kind of glad it ended already. Where this match ended, I was like, oh, I could have kept watching for another 10 minutes. Like I would have liked to have seen. Like I love and I'm glad they haven't done this very often. This happens every once. I feel like every maybe 3 to 5 years. I love the suplex spot where they suplex each other out of the ring together. And this one was one of the more clean ones because Brian was able to land on his ass on the ring and then just able to flip him right over. And it just looks so clean, but it always looks terrifying. But it's like one of the most controlled, in my opinion, like one of the, like, it's like an instant pop for me when I see that happen because it's so rare and it just looks so clean, especially in this one. I was honestly one of my, like, there's a lot of really cool things that happened in this match. There was a great fall with slam. There was wonderful moonsaults, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. Kitchen sinks being thrown out of the windows and stuff. But I popped for that move above anything else. I wished he would have won with the Deadeye instead of the lariat, even though Brian does a great job of selling the lariat. And I know that that's like the move that they really want to put over. Me and Moyes, we've talked about this. I don't know how your opinion on it exactly, Elias. I feel like the buckshot lariat, it takes too long to set up. It is a move that I don't really like because you do see it coming. And I feel like if anybody was a wrestler, you would just duck. Like, it's very hard to set that timing so good where they just turn around and they just take the move. Like, it's very difficult to make that happen.
That's why I like what WWE does with the phenomenal forearm. Like, it gets countered so much because the wrestlers see it coming. And yes, it's a scripted sport, obviously, but
yeah.
And one thing I do want to say is I did like this match a lot. I think it was miles ahead of the first one. I was actually live at the first one, and around the 15-minute mark, I fell asleep. And I woke up at like the 25-minute mark.
It's a lot.
And to me,
Matt, I fell asleep in the stadium.
He was in the stands falling asleep.
I know. Are you making an exaggeration of falling asleep, or you're telling me you legitimately fell asleep?
No, I don't know if I sent a link to my friend Milan who went to the show with me. He had to wake me up.
Wow. No, what I was saying by it was a lot is I was saying like that first match was a lot. Like, and there was a huge moment where I guess Adam Page actually got concussed, right? Like legitimately had concussion symptoms or something, and they were like the part where they went to the break and he was outside the ring. He was legitimately like knocked out. Isn't that what?
He was drinking water and like you could,
but like legit, like it was not. It was which was a huge downer. And I mean this in the safety of them, obviously. I'm not saying it is like, oh, just get off your ass and start working again. No, like I mean, like for the audience to watch that, it is a very, very draining moment, and it took a lot. And you know what? You could probably honestly gauge where the most like slow part of that match, and it was that part. And I think it took a lot of the energy out. And there was never a moment like that with this match.
No, and I think this match was more story related because they told story in the ring. Like the moment when Hangman was going to do the first buckshot lariat and Daniel Bryan just fell down because has
talk about that too.
Has the commentators even sold it better this time around, saying that they were blaming everything on the loss of blood and stuff like that. So like you saw them telling the story a little bit better this time, and you like me saying that I kind of saw the end coming. I didn't know where it was going to go because I honestly thought Bryan Danielson was going to win this one, and then for them, I honestly thought that he was going to win. As the match went on, and you saw Bryan Danielson gain the advantage, I was like, they're going to probably get the title off of Hangman, but at the end of the day, because we made the prediction on Tuesday. When we're like, we know that this is a 50-50, but we know it would hurt Hangman more to lose the title than it would Bryan Danielson to take the loss on this one.
Yeah, I think Daniel Bryan looked great in this loss, except one problem I had with it, and this is AEW style, and it's I think a little bit WWE style too, but I think AEW is far more guilty of it. There's very few protected finishers in professional wrestling today. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah. No, I agree because I think one of the most protected finishers is the end of days. And that's literally in AEW. I think the only finisher that's protected in AEW is I don't even know because
it's one winged angel.
One winged angel. Like that's
no one's kicked out of that. No one's kicked out of that, and I don't believe anyone's kicked out of John Moxley's either. I could be wrong about that one, and I don't know about Judas. Judas might also be.
I want to say Jericho kicked out of Moxley's.
He might have one time. But those are like three of probably the most protected ones. I was shocked that they allowed Daniel Bryan to hit, I would say, all three of his finishers in AEW. The shotgun pile driver, the running knee, and the triangle choke. All three finishers were hit in this match, and all three of them were gotten out of. Like,
and the Lavelle lock.
Oh yeah, and the Lavelle lock I think we're going to see slowly turn into a transitional move in AEW versus what he used as a finisher in WWE.
And in the first
That'd
match,
be my guess.
Cattle mutilation too in the first match.
Yeah.
Did.
But that was a throwback to his indie days back in ROH and stuff though. So like,
one thing
there's some leeway with his quote unquote finishers for sure, but he had 3 finishing moves and did not win this match. And it only he did hit the Deadeye and he kicked out of it, but it only took 1 buckshot lariat in this match for him to get the win.
Yeah. I think one thing that made the match a little funny or a little bit added a little cherry on top was when he did the Gotch style pod driver on Hangman and then looked at Jerry Lynn. I thought that was funny. I thought that added a little bit of heat on it because it was pretty cool to see. But one thing
Where
that I will take.
Where did they go from here?
Well, before that, one takeaway I will say was that the judges did not look like they were. It didn't look right in the match. So
I agree.
It's like it felt off for some reason. That's
Jerry Lynn was the only one writing anything down, and then Mark Henry had
he fell asleep the first time they cut to him.
Maybe that's why, but Big Show had his thing up against him, so it just looked like he wasn't even gonna I can just recite the match from memory if it goes to 60 minutes. Like there was nothing that made it look like they were judging the match, and I agree with you. Yeah,
it didn't look like they were invested. They just looked like they were just sitting there to look pretty. But regardless, it didn't go to 60 minutes, and I thought, and that was one thing that I was afraid of, that was gonna go to 60 minutes and we're going to get some kind of screwy finish out of it. But I'm glad that they didn't take that route and went the route that they went.
What's the next match for each of these? What's the next feud for each of these guys? Because I know where I want to see Bryan go.
You know what? I think that I don't know where I want to see Hangman Page go. I guess that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that. And they because they're not ready for MJF. Maybe they are. Maybe are they?
No, because he's stuck in he's going into the next segment.
But he's not stuck into it with CM Punk because he's going to throw people in front of CM Punk. So he has the ability.
What if Wardlow gets pissed and leaves?
Wardlow he's good when he gets his TNT title shot. Then he's going to do the Batista thumbs down.
Well, that's the thing. The way that they're building the CM Punk MJF storyline, it's right now, him taking this disqualification against Sean Dean was kind of that way to trying to ruin his ranking system, the ranking system that they follow.
Oh, yeah.
So basically,
quote
unquote follow. So, so I don't know. I don't know whether this match with MJF and CM Punk is going to happen, and if it happens, I don't know if MJF is going to come out on top of the.
I did not like CM Punk's interruption for this evening. I thought it was super out of character, and I thought it made him just look like a dick. He hits go to sleep on Sean Dean, interrupts MJF's match to give Sean Dean the win. Why the hell does he need to hit?
Why couldn't you win by countout? I completely agree.
That was annoying because they should have done when he got out of the ring and CM Punk was in the ring, Aubrey Adams should have started counting because the bell had already rung. So she starts counting, and every time he tries to get in, he gets a little bit pissy and he decides not to, and then they ring the bell. Why would they need? That was that wasn't just bad booking. That was goddamn amateur hour. It made no sense. Let's use CM Punk, babyface Punk right now, to hit his finishing move on a jobber showing up just to try to get a little bit of spotlight. What the hell sense did that make?
It didn't make sense.
This is going to lead to Sean Dean and CM Punk having a competitive match next week.
I hope so. but I doubt it.
Well, no, next week is CM Punk versus Wardlow.
Yeah, he's going against Wardlow.
It's going to go on Dark Elevation or something, or it's going to go on Rampage. But
didn't you hear what CM Punk said about Dark Elevation? That's not the place where he shows up. See, like, there's been a lot of drop balls with the CM Punk stuff that has really kind of irked me. I am not a big CM Punk mark. Like, he was not my excitement for him coming back to wrestling. That was not my like happy hour for like it was for a lot of people and stuff. And it's like, and seeing the way they're dropping the ball with his storylines, with his feuds, with his bookings, like, and then like they do this thing. It's like it's so irritating and frustrating because it feels like CM Punk, who is quote unquote up top card, right? Like he's the upper echelon of the top card because he's a legend, he's a veteran, he's all these things, but he is wrestling some of these lower tier guys because he wants to have good matches. He wants to put other people over for having the rub and stuff, which is fine. But then it's like amateur hour with the booking progression of it. They dropped the ball with Eddie Kingston and him. Like they're dropping the ball with MJF because it's not enough to have a really good promo off. It really isn't. Like the story building needs to make sense. And there is a certain level it does not make sense when you go in as a good guy and hit a finishing move on a rando. That does not make sense.
And then what basically this is leading to is all leading to Wardlow separating from MJF and Sean Spears and stuff like that.
So, I'm going to tell you what's happening next week. Wardlow and Punk have a competitive match. Wardlow shakes CM Punk's hand. MJF goes off. Whenever MJF finally gets his match against CM Punk, Wardlow's going to be like, go do it on your own.
So I saw the meme. It was in a group or Facebook or somewhere, but it had Wardlow get the TNT title, and then MJF was like handed over, and then he does like the thumbs down Batista style back in the day when it was Evolution and stuff. I think it's going to be closer to that. I think he's going to stay with him until he wins the title. Otherwise, why would you have set that up in the contract thing? Like, why would you have brought that up and been like, oh, yeah, don't forget, when you win that, you're totally going to give it over to me because of contracts. And they're just going to, like, throw that out the back window?
That before CM Punk faces MJF. Like, Wardlow can still shake CM Punk's hand after the match. And
I don't think that's going to happen.
But how many times are you going to –
I think we're going to see Sean Spears hit Wardlow with a chair by accident. Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
How many times can you take a promo off between MJF and CM Punk? Because
I'm at the level where I'm done. I'm at my level.
Because at this point, I'm not gonna lie, that was a good promo between both of them. The promo that they did was pretty good. The shot at MJF, the saying that if you don't treat me right, I'll go to and headline WrestleMania, and then CM Punk responds was good. But how many times are you going to do the same thing, saying like it pretty much kind of in a sense says the same thing, like it's stating the same thing over and over again. So how many times are you going to see the same promo before people are just like, let's have the match already?
I feel like CM Punk is saying the same thing over and over again, but I feel like MJF is adding new aspects. Like he had that Piper line where he said, Piper headlined Mania. You didn't. Like
MJF is better.
MJF is the face.
That's what's funny. Like MJF seems like the face in this feud.
The one thing that was surprising is that MJF got the crowd to chat PG Punk. Like that was pretty cool. I did not expect that to happen. I did not expect a crowd of people to say PG Punk. Like that was I was impressed. Go MJF.
It goes to show that MJF is like what they say he is. Like he's good on the mic. He's good. He's decent in the ring. I really haven't seen more. Like at the beginning, I liked his in-ring style, but now he's kind of like playing the heel thing. So like I want to see more of MJF in the ring by himself because I feel like he's a good wrestler. And apart from his promo skills, when he makes that babyface turn, people are gonna love MJF more than they did when he was a face again when he was with Cody.
When he makes it the night after WrestleMania in 2 years, yeah, I completely agree.
2 years is a long time. 2 years is a long time. Lots of things can change.
I'm not gonna lie. If MJF does go to WWE, one feud that I want to see happen is MJF versus The Miz.
So are we seeing Jericho. Let's go ahead and move on. I think we've said all we can about MJF and CM Punk. Do we think that Eddie Kingston is joining the Inner Circle? What are we seeing happen with the storyline involving Daniel Garcia 2.0, Eddie Kingston, and Ortiz and Santana? What are we seeing happen? What is going on?
I don't know. I honestly am trying to figure out exactly what can be next with this feud, but I just don't like. I just can't really get into it because
you know why you can't get into it? Because Daniel Garcia is a focal point of it. That's why you can't get into it.
It's not even that. It's just like, okay.
No, it is that. I just like people don't look. Daniel Garcia, great in the ring. Good for him. Phenomenal wrestler. Awesome. Wrestling will only get you so far. We saw it with Kyle O'Reilly in NXT. Even after the Adam Cole feud, I didn't care. Like, you need to have something. And I love that 2.0 is with them because I think they're hilarious. But
I hate 2.0. I hate them. They bug the fuck out of me. They bug me. I don't like them at all.
Then they do what they're supposed to do.
I will say this.
Because Matt, you yourself said there's no such thing as X-Pac heat. So they do what they got to do.
When did I say there's no such thing as X-Pac heat? I don't think I said that. What are you talking about?
When we did our old show, you had a superstar segment on X-Pac. I think you did say this.
I said that there's a thing called X-Pac heat, I think.
But I think you said you weren't like a fan of it because you loved X-Pac.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. 2.0 are annoying, stupid buttholes, and I feel that way. So they're doing their job, right? Nobody goes.
They're the annoying losers.
Like, exactly, and
right
they
now
they're just dumb.
I'm gonna say this right now. We're on a collision course to seeing two of the biggest factions in AEW implode. The Pinnacle. Okay. First off, the Pinnacle was never a real faction. No. They were never a top tier faction. They were never anything besides a one match moment in AEW, so that MJF
he meant to say, unless I got you. He meant to say the Elite.
Well, that too, but I mean, right now
the Elite's doing it right. The Elite's having a story,
right? But with the Pinnacle, with the Wardlow situation, Wardlow getting eventually leaving the group, and then you're looking at the Inner Circle. Like right now, Sammy is doing his own thing. Prime and Powerful are doing this thing with Eddie Kingston and Jericho.
That's why I think what we're going to see happen is Eddie is going to join with Jericho because the Inner Circle is a face group now. They're not heel anymore. And Eddie has the in with Ortiz and Santana, and I think that he's going to become a welcomed member into the Inner Circle. And I think they're going to welcome him. I think it's going to be a very nice, like, warm welcome into this group setting to help push him and build him and stuff. I don't know exactly what that will lead to or what that will look like down the line, but the Pinnacle is not a real group. It is still just a two-man faction with MJF and Wardlow. MJF and Wardlow are going to have their breakup is what's coming up, but the Pinnacle's not a thing. Like, it bugs me because when they first announced it, I was like, oh, this maybe could work. But like week by week, you realize FTR does not need a group, because the one thing about Santana and Ortiz, when they came to AEW, I know they're a tag team, but they were not a tag team, I think, with enough eyes on them, the way like FTR and the Young Bucks and like all these other, completely evolved tag teams that like had that mainstream appeal to it. So like Pride and Prejudice Santana Ortiz, could benefit from being a part of a larger group while still being the tag team in that group. You know what I mean? FTR didn't need that. FTR was already FTR. Like they don't benefit from being in a group.
Elias is going to hate this. I think that 2.0 are going to take out Pride and Powerful for a couple of weeks, like injured him. And I think that Jericho and Eddie Kingston will be a makeshift tag team that beats them up.
No, I can agree on that. I can see that
happening.
But
I don't see that.
I know you agree. It just irritates me too because I want to see Pride and Powerful like facing the Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy now, or but
honestly, I feel that one of the most unsung heroes in AEW right now that hasn't got the chance to really show what they're about is Pride and Powerful. I 100%. Feel like right now, I feel that they're the group that needs to get that next chance. Like FTR already had their chance. 2.0 don't really care about them.
No, they're not a real team. They're just jokes.
Like, I really wish we could have seen the Lucha Bros versus Pride and Powerful, because that match would have been money. Like that. I mean, just being honest, like I think that match would have been actually better than
hot take. It's Tony's not pushing Pride and Powerful because Peter Rosenberg did their music. And he worked with WWE.
Maybe that's why. I think we mainly saw Santana and Ortiz as a heel group tag team, so we haven't seen them face tag team yet, and I think that's something that we're missing in AEW is a because we had the baby face tag team, which is Jungle Express. They are the main top of the hill baby face, right? And I mean, because Penta and Phoenix were faces, obviously, but they weren't the same sort of over baby face like that Jungle Boy is, obviously, right? So I don't know, and I want to talk to you about the tag match here in a minute. Let's go ahead and move on from this because I think there's too much that's up in the air in terms of Eddie Kingston and Jericho and Inner Circle. I think the one thing though that I think is worth being said, it is a true statement to say I want to know and find out what is going to happen with Eddie Kingston and the Inner Circle.
Yeah, I agree with that because that's
exciting.
My interest, because specifically being that Eddie Kingston has that LAX background with Santana and Ortiz. Even when they were enemies as the OGs versus LAX and Impact, it still brought some level of continuity to that relationship right there.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, just that friendship for like the kind of the diehards, right?
Yeah,
because like that's one thing. And AEW said this before. They said that they are willing to admit that wrestling has happened outside of AEW. I appreciate that because I think they've been consistent with it. If they ever get not consistent with it, like if they ever try to hide somebody's history in some way, that would bug me. But as long as they're being consistent, then I have no problem with it all, because I don't like when we're told that you can't believe that these people existed outside of these universes, right? Like with WWE, where they make everyone change their name and then like nothing happened outside of this world until they're inside this world, right?
I think right now they're at a shift where they're starting to recognize a little bit of the work that they've done outside. Like if you look at the documentaries, they do recognize some of the stuff that they've done outside. But as far as
some people are too big that you can't, right? Like you can't ignore what AJ Styles has done outside.
And Vince ain't watching the documentaries. Let's be real.
That's true.
Yeah,
he ain't got time for that. Anyways, but moving on.
Going. Your thoughts on the TBS Championship final? I'll kick it off.
Good.
I didn't like the match. I still feel that Jade is green, but I understand why they put the title on her. And it ain't what you think. I think that they're putting their money behind Jade, and she has the look. She has the look. She has the mouthpiece with her as well, so she can be built to be a big star. So I think that it was a good decision to put the title on Jade because she could be a great representative of it. But I still felt that in her in-ring skills still lacked, because you could tell at some point she was missing a cue or she was missing a certain spot in the match. And I still feel that she kind of works a little bit too stiff to work with a lot of the seasoned talent.
I think working with Mercedes Martinez is going to help her with that.
I've actually not even got your guys' opinion of that, but I popped when I saw Martinez in last week. I popped.
I was happy, but I was still sad. I was still mad that Thunder Rosa lost, because I would have loved to see Ruby versus Thunder Rosa. But I think, again, I get it.
Yeah, go. But I want to hear. I want to hear what you have to say, Moise.
No, I thought it was a good match. I think with Cargill, what you got to do is limit her matches to 5 to 7 minutes. Have it be like a Goldberg situation. Some matches go 2 minutes, And I have to 100% be on the Jade Cargill train now, because 1 year from now, I'm gonna message Justin on Facebook Messenger and be like, "Hey, remember when I told you Jade Cargill was a star and you said no, she isn't?"
I am a very noted not fan of Jade. I think I've said some mean things, in fact, and I do think she's very green, and I do think that she is not the person that I want to see as the highlight of a division. But I 100% agree that she was the right person to win this title, the right person to win this tournament, and I believe that she is the right person to be in charge of this division right now because everybody underneath her now has a goal that they're chasing together towards to get to. And I think that she can do just enough in the ring to make it a believable situation where she's stronger than somebody, and that's why she wins. Not because she's a better wrestler, but because she is stronger than the other person. Sometimes being stronger is a very valuable asset. I don't think Ruby will get enough credit in this match for how much she helped make Jade look as good as Jade looked in this match, in my opinion. I think this is the first time that, in my opinion, Jade, for me personally, was over. And as the match got finished with and as it continued, I was like, this is the right call. Like, to me, when you build a new division, a new title, a new whatever, you have to start with a heel champion. You have to,
yeah,
because then it allows me to hate her. It allows anyone that doesn't like her to be mad at that. And then eventually it allows whoever takes it off of her to be popular. And I think
I think that's it. That was the great factor in it. I think that, like I said, they did a great decision in putting her over as champion. And I think that the feuds that are coming are going to be pretty good if they book them correctly. Because like the same thing going with Britt Baker right now. Her title run has fallen a little flat, in my opinion, where there's not that big star that's chasing after the title. Like, yes, you have Ruby, like, just finished this, and then they're kind of teasing that she's going to hop back on the hunt for that title. But at the same time, we cannot forget that there's Thunder Rosa, there's Mercedes, that even Jade could get into the conversation of the main title. So, stuff like that makes you.
This is a main title, though, isn't it? This isn't meant to be a secondary women's title. This is supposed to be another main women's title, right?
But I think it should be kept as a secondary title because you take away from the women's championship.
They should have called it something else then.
Yeah,
I guess they are calling it
after the TNT title. You can't call it the TBS title and have it be secondary.
What I don't understand is they called it the TBS Championship, right? But this is not the TBS Women's Championship, right? So is this going to be an intergender belt?
That's a
I don't understand that.
But I think it's more based off the women because the men have the TNT. The men have the TNT, and now the women have the TBS. I think it was a solid call to do that instead of.
I think it is, but it's also a weird one because they don't give women time in AEW. Me and Moyes were talking about this actually a little bit. There has been no female besides Britt Baker and maybe and Brandy that have gotten in-ring time promos during live TV. Jade gets scripted backstage events, and a couple of the other women do as well. All the females that can't speak English well enough get interviews and vignettes, but no woman gets to tell her story outside of the match that she has.
Yeah,
and you can't have two fucking titles when you don't allow them time to tell a story.
Well, that's why they have Rampage and they have all these other shows.
They still don't let them give them time to get a story out.
I will say that one story that been concluded in Rampage last week that I did like was the Bunny and Penelope Ford versus Ty and Anna.
You didn't like the story, you liked the women in it, and it's completely fine. You're a fan of Tay Conti, you're a fan of the Bunny. I am too. That's why I liked it. But we did not give two craps about the story. What was the story? They get laid out
it
by
was basically.
I thought that was a terrible
that's
match.
What it was.
I hated that match.
I thought it was a good match for.
It was such a bad match. It was sloppy. It was poorly executed. The only go watch Britt. We all agree. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa lights out match was a good match, right?
Yeah.
You cannot watch these two matches side by side and say, yeah, that was also a good match, because it wasn't. Like, this tag team match was sloppy, it was poorly executed, it was spot hungry, and it was just ugly to watch, and it was gross. It was not a good match. You're crazy telling me that was a good match. You're crazy.
I thought the ending was good.
Where the fuck is Kiera Hogan?
Where's any of the women that are supposed to? No, like their division is broken, and they're not taking accurate steps besides putting titles on important people and hoping that the matches will get them over enough, is what it feels like.
You know what I think kind of made them stop on this? It was the Red Velvet push, I think.
That was a bad push.
When they tried to make her a babyface, you can't make her a babyface in Pittsburgh, where Britt is hometown hero.
Yeah,
you can't make her a babyface anywhere because she's way too green in the ring. She's not very good.
Would you not say we saw more from her on the mic than we did from anyone else?
But why aren't we seeing Thunder Rosa? Why aren't we seeing Ruby Soho now? Why aren't we seeing Chris Statlander? Like, if their worry is how they're able to present themselves on a microphone in front of a live crowd.
Uh-oh. Did we just have Matt Freeze? Yeah, we have a Matt Freeze, ladies and gentlemen. Is he still here?
Matthew?
Matty. Uh-oh. We lost Matt for a second. Okay. So we'll continue on a little bit till he gets his situation straight. It looks like he froze.
No, but yeah, Elias, what do you got to say about this?
No, I definitely agree. I feel that the biggest problem with AEW right now is how they book their women. They book them to a certain level or aspect where it doesn't given. Hi Derek, welcome to the show, but I feel that the AEW doesn't give their women enough time in the ring to do what they need to do. And I feel that that's a big problem with them, regardless of how they book the major stars. I feel like it's the same issue that WWE had and still has to this day, because when you look at it, the main people that they give more TV time is to Becky Lynch, Bianca, Charlotte, or Sasha, the main people, the main top stars of the brand.
Elias, when you say the top stars, you can name 6 women in WWE. You can only name 2 in AEW.
But that's the issue with both companies. You have a set number of people that are basically top stars in that company.
I'm gonna disagree, because WWE, I see Jelena and Carmella at least every other week, correct?
Yeah, but think about it like this: even though they get the TV time, how much TV time do they get? Because if you look at the prime example, Queen of the Ring tournament, every match was less than 5 minutes.
That was such
a joke. Less than that. It wasn't until the final that we even got a 10-minute match out of Zelina and Doudrop. So when you look at it, yes, they get TV time,
I'll counter you. Bianca and Doudrop, they got like 12, 15 minutes every time they wrestled.
But Bianca is a top star in the company.
A new top star. That's what you don't want to say. A new top star.
She's still a top star.
Who?
But Bianca.
She's not new anymore. She's cementing her place better. She's not new anymore. She's established. She's one of the very few newer. So I agree with you in the term new, but she's not new.
You have to feud with someone, right? Like you have.
Yeah. What is she doing right now? Oh, she got sick. Wasn't she going to be on day one? No.
She's having a triple
number
threat
one
match with
Liv and Doudrop.
Doudrop.
I don't believe in Liv. I don't
either. We'll talk about that next time.
I lost a little bit of confidence in it after day one, so it's like I don't know what they're doing with her. I was on board with her at the beginning, but after day one,
I was until her first promo. She's unbelievable in my opinion. She's super scripted to the point of sounding fake, and I did her promo killed me. It did. Your fat contract made my friends leave. Like I just like needed to say that more in the mirror.
They're doing what they did with Bayley when she was a babyface. But
I don't
Bayley
disagree with
actually
that.
sold it better. But the only thing
not
about
much,
it is that
not much. Bayley was also terrible bait.
But Bayley was terrible as a face, but she was still over. That's the difference.
She was over because she hugged. That was it. A bunch of sweaty old men were like, "I hope she hugs me too."
No, but dude, little girls bought Bayley T-shirts. Like,
agreed. So did old men that were gross.
Yeah, I have a Bayley T-shirt.
That's what I'm talking about.
Let's get into the main event because we gotta get to NXT too. So let's go.
Yeah, let's hurry up.
All right, so skipping the Malachi match because that was straightforward, and it was a disappointment that we didn't see Brody King when the lights went out.
It was more disappointing that Pillman just is not there. He's not there.
Yeah, that too.
Stop selling us on Brian Pillman Jr. Send him back to MLW.
Let him win the Owen. You know he's gonna win the Owen.
You're so fucking right. I hate you, Moise. Why do you gotta be right? Why do you gotta be right? The World AEW Tag Team Championship match between the Lucha Brothers and Jurassic Express. If you like spots, if you like flips, if you like dives,
if you like choreography,
for you.
If you like choreography, if you don't like 10, what was that? If you don't like 10 second countouts, if you don't like 5-second tag countouts, like just throw it all out the window and watch these two ballerinas work.
The refs literally threw all the rules out on this match. It should have just been.
They do every match. They do every match.
But I think the worst spot in this one was the choke slam. I hated it, and then especially since Phoenix got injured.
I don't even think that was the worst spot. Like that's the thing that I was kind of talking about in our group chat a little bit.
It was the most unneeded spot.
Was it though? Like I mean, if you were to get all the spots they did, is that one the most unneeded?
No,
like
the one where Phoenix held Jungle Boy's hand and they did the flippies together.
Yeah.
That was
cool. Right, but like that's the thing is like honestly, like AEW has been so lucky that they have only had mild concussions. They've only had mild injuries. They've only had mild people dislocating their shoulders and stuff like that because so often are they doing these unnecessary spots that we all agree on this. They do unnecessary spots. This is the first time that it may have backfired to the point where it could cost them money. And if it does that, then maybe they'll learn and they'll stop doing so many of these. Like your match should not be getting a quarter of a star per spot that you do.
Well, I think one thing that I think Cornette has said, even Eric Bischoff has said, and a couple of other like big old school.
I believe Dave Meltzer might have said it too.
That a lot of what they do is what they call the spot, the spot take. So they're getting the pop. So they want to do spots that's going to pop the crowd, and a lot of it is just, unfortunately nowadays, a lot of it is just trying to get a 5-star from Meltzer.
Matt,
you know what pops the crowd even better?
One spot
and make the crowd pop.
One spot me and you both hate, that Big E spear. He only does it on pay-per-views now. I'm fine with that. Do it on the big money stuff.
Save it for something that matters, not free TV. This is what my brother would say.
Elias, you watch Impact, the Tommy Dreamer cannonball to the outside. He only does it in his big matches.
Yeah. Same thing with certain moves like the Charlotte does the backflip or the twirl backflip. She only saves it for those shows. So it's
because that's how you get a legitimate pop when an audience is excited to see the move, not just excited to do the same, not just excited to see the same thing that they've already done last week. They're excited because it's like, oh God, there it is, right?
Example.
I saw this already.
Point example, the Edge intro with the Brood coming out with the fire and then turning into his regular theme. I think that I like it.
You see, I think that's the opposite of what we're saying right now because, and I'm going to say this 100% joking. Okay, I'm going to say what I'm about to say 100% joking. Did Edge need the Brood entrance to get over? I am saying that joking, but you know what I mean by that.
Yeah. But like, I think it's a good callback to.
He already did it though.
Well,
he already did it.
Matt, I know you're not like in the dirt sheets like that, but day one was supposed to be Nick Khan's baby. Like it's something he wants to be like he wants his face on it. So that's why he had Brock Lesnar on the show. He had the storyline with Brock and Roman.
Because it's the first year, it's the first day of the new year. This, I got you.
That's the pay-per-view he wants as his own. Like
that's going to be his WrestleMania every year.
Yeah,
he'll get rid of Survivor Series or something. Yeah.
So overall, going back to the tag team match, I thought that it was a lot of big spots, like spots that made people pop.
But it's only making people pop because it's a big move, and like I do agree that like a much more important pop, right? A much more important pop is getting a 3 count unexpectedly. Yeah. That's an important pop.
Who posted the Bubba Ray quote earlier today?
I did. I saw that.
Well, what was the quote? If they pop
Let me read it.
For your move than your music, yeah, Matt has it. He'll find it.
Yeah, I'll read it real quick. It says that if they pop more for your move than your music, then you're not really over. Sell psychology. Holy crap! How many more messages we have in this group all of a sudden? It's because my internet went down for a minute. That's why. Here it is.
I got it.
If they pop louder for your move than your music, you're not over. Sell more in the ring, and you'll have to sell less at your gimmick table. I thought that was a hard hitting fucking line. Shine, heat, comeback, finish has worked for every generation. Learn how to tell a story. Keep it simple, stupid. Good luck in 22.
But that makes sense. Hey Matthew, welcome to the show. But that makes sense. Like it's really what wrestling is missing nowadays. Everybody's going for the pop. Everybody's going for the ratings. Everybody's going for that big moment that makes the crowd pop. But they're not. A lot of it, even your brother has said it, that a lot of the old school in-ring psychology is dying off of it because of that. So like seeing all that you saw, yes, it was good. It made the crowd pop. But what story did it tell in the ring?
Like, who Matt's gonna fall in love with if he actually watches Hard to Kill? Josh Alexander. I think Josh Alexander.
I like Josh Alexander. I like Josh Alexander. He's a very talented wrestler. He's very good. I agree. He's one
into a big spot, just a badass with submission moves.
Yep.
Reminds me of Taz. Badass with submission moves.
So he reminds you of Hook? Is that what you're saying?
Hook is a bad. I love Hook. Oh man, I can't.
All right. So apart from the table spot, y'all think it was a good move to make Lucha Jungle Express?
Why do it on this show? I guess no. Yeah, I stand by my statement. Why do it on this show when you have Battle of the Belts coming up? Like,
I think you
could have had them rematch. You could have them rematch.
I think they have their whole card set for it.
Well, it's only an hour too.
It's only an hour, yeah.
So is it only an hour?
It's only an hour. 3 matches is all that could fit in those.
Shit, why even do it? Anyways,
going into that's pretty much it.
TNT is giving them money for a Saturday special. Yeah.
Then do it, baby. I don't. Hold on, I want to know, what did we think? Was it a good idea or not a good idea to put it onto Jurassic Express? Yes or no?
I felt that they could have done it at a bigger event, but I'm not disappointed.
It was a good spot. It was a good spot because Alistair and Brody are taking that title within the next one.
How long did Penta and Phoenix hold on to the belt? How long?
160 something days.
How many months is that?
4 months. 60, 90, 120. 5 months.
Almost 4 months. 5 months.
5 months? I think I only gave them 3 months, so it's longer than I expected, actually. How many matches did they have? I'm curious. I'd actually like to look into some of those stats.
Do you want to? You can go on the wiki and you can see Lucha Brothers versus FTR 57 times.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, you mean the Frogs? They fought the Frogs one time too.
They do have one more match with FTR coming up for the tag AAA. Next. Let's get into NXT. We're running on time.
Okay.
All right, unification match, Carmelo Hayes versus Roderick Strong. I thought this was I get past another torch match, like the main event. I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that Carmelo won. I really wanted Roddy to win, but Roddy made.
You went 1-4 in predictions.
Because I wanted to stick with the old NXT guys and the season talent and Cora.
That makes no sense for you. That makes no sense for you, Elias. At all.
It doesn't, and I'm still happy with the results. I don't care. It's
Carmelo is money. Carmelo
has everybody noticed the demeanor on Elias has changed now that we're talking about NXT? Like, he was totally fine with talking about AEW. Don't get me wrong, but his smile, the smile has instantly grown on his face. Even when he's like, it's okay. They did a good job. I like the NXT. It's fine. Like, we know it's okay to be a mark. It's okay. We are all marks. It's cool. It's cool. I like when I see you mark out because it's cute. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Matt. Do you like Carmelo?
I do. I saw him on the what's it called on the War Games, hanging out on the outside and stuff. Right. He wasn't in the match. He was on the outside in that match. Right. Am I thinking of the right person? Yeah. Okay. Good. And then. Yeah, and I thought he has the look of $1 million. He has the speed that kills. He has very strong moves. This was the most AEW style match that I've seen in NXT in a long time, and it was still far cleaner. It was still better paced, and it had a much more clear ending time than AEW matches do normally. So I really appreciated that. It was a 15-minute match that felt like it was 5 minutes long. It was great, wonderful.
Roddy can have a match with Broomstick. I hope they keep him around. I hope he's one of the trainers that Vince McMahon falls in. I hope Vince makes him a trainer and falls in love with him.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Whatever he does next, it's because it's unclear because a lot of the old NXT talent is either leaving or hopefully going to the main roster, but we'll see.
We got to talk about Matthew John's comment that he made real quick. It says, "I love that wrestling has grown in wrestling. I like how people are interacting outside of the ring with fans. I think he means the line. I think that the line been kayfabe and reality is way too apparent.
The line between reality. Yeah.
I think the line could be way better. I think the line of kayfabe is a super important. I was somebody maybe 5-10 years ago. I was like, kayfabe's dead, blah blah blah, and it is dead 100%. But I think it's far more important than it's so important. A good match, one of the best qualities of any match is not knowing who's going to win, and that's all kayfabe.
And I think that one thing about kayfabe, that one person that kept it kayfabe to the end was the Undertaker. I think that.
But then the moment he quit, then he did a commercial for a locksmith. Right? Like,
what the
fuck? He's been waiting all these years to finally be like, I really like these fucking locksmiths. They're really good. I couldn't tell you when I was dead, but now I'm alive.
Right.
So
hey, Kane, he became a mayor.
Right?
Yeah, Kane became the mayor. You're like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah, but he was still living his gimmick because then he was corporate Kane.
Yeah.
Sure. Imperium and versus MSK and Matt Riddle. I thought this match was one of my favorite matches of the night. I love the chemistry between MSK and Riddle. I like the spots. Walter still looks like a beast regardless in this loss. Walter's
so good.
Walter is money. That's all I say about that one.
I think it was interesting that Matt Riddle has come back for this where he's a shaman and he's like their sponsor, their coach or whatever. I like a sponsor. That's a funny word for this situation of MSK.
No, anyway. It was supposed to be Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
But sponsor is an even better word, I guess. Anyways, I find it interesting, the shaman route and what they're doing with Matt Riddle inside of NXT. The thing that I don't like is that Matt Riddle got the win. Like, his team got the win. I get that. I understand that. But he got the win. Like, why would that help MSK if they're relying on a veteran now, because he's on Raw and stuff, to get the win for them in a match like this? It would have been way more meaningful for him to have helped coach them up and they get the win. Yeah. That would make way more sense to me. The match itself was fine. The match itself was great. Walter is a beast. MSK are super energetic. The other two members of Imperium, because I don't watch it consistently, I'm not familiar with nearly enough, so I can't I don't have a lot to say.
Technical. They're very ground technical, but when they get into their groove, it's just one of those groups that they're technician specialists.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever complimented an AEW wrestler like that. What he just did for Imperium.
Look at the smile. Look at his smile. I'm telling you. Anyways, I thought they were very good. I question why have Matt Riddle win the match. That's all. That was my only critique of that match.
Really quick, I think that it's because I think they're throwing a wool over our heads. I think Imperium's debuting on the main roster. Imperium's going to lose the tag titles to MSK really soon before Rumble. I think they're going to feud with RK Bro, and I think Walter's going to be in the Rumble.
I think so too.
I think Walter's going to be in it. I don't think he's going to win it.
He's my dark horse to win. AJ's my pick to win right now, but he can change.
All right,
I need to look at the current
triple
roster.
threat for the NXT Women's Title: Raquel versus Cora versus Mandy Rose.
I don't know if I like Mandy Rose. I think that her biggest problem for me personally is the fact that she looks green, but she shouldn't. And I think my other problem with her is that she holds herself like a pro, but she's obviously not. And I think that that is a frustration of mine with watching a Mandy Rose match. Is I don't think she's there, but there's the other side of the coin is Cora Jade looks like a rookie. She looks green, but she hasn't evolved in her character where that's what she is. She is inexperienced. She is young. She is learning. And that's what it looks like. But Mandy Rose looks like she should already fucking know already, but she doesn't. I do not like Mandy Rose. I think Raquel is wonderful and great. And this match was a fine match and it was good. I didn't care for the winner. I understand it, but I don't like Mandy Rose. I don't.
I will say this: I think that Mandy Rose has gone back a little bit to where she started, because when she first got into NXT and started her faction, I thought that she looked really good. I think she kind of took a step back because she was becoming consistent in the ring, and now it's like since War Games, it's got her match quality has gone down. She was becoming.
I think that Mandy's taken a step back as well. It's crazy. We went from the days of like Rhea, Io, and Raquel to this,
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is Io or Kaylee Ray are next in line. I hope they take that title off of Mandy. And yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all we got to say.
I think
anyways, going into the main event, I'm not going to talk about what else happened in between.
One second. I think we definitely should talk about AJ and Grayson Waller.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty important segment actually.
Yeah.
I didn't hate what AJ said in his promo. I did not hate it, okay? And like you could use the same things that we're joking about Elias right now, right? Like we could say the same thing about what I'm about to say. Because I did not hate anything that AJ said, but I also didn't pop for anything AJ said. Like I've heard it all before 100 times from many different mouths. Triple H's, Shawn Michaels, Johnny Gargano, how do you pronounce the last name? Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. Like the list goes on. Like Finn Balor. Like we can just go forever. All these people have said the exact same thing.
It's a basic indie template. Like I've been wrestling forever. Yeah.
So it was just very like whatever, okay. And then Grayson Waller comes out, and it's like, okay, I see where this is going. I like this. Here's the question, the big question: AJ gets the first win in this series, right?
AJ wins. AJ wins, and then Grayson eliminates him in the Rumble. That's how I would go with it.
I agree with that. I think that's what they should do, but I don't think they're going to. And I think AJ's on his way out of WWE, and I don't think he's going to win the Rumble.
I don't think so.
AJ signed for 4 more years.
Yeah.
Boom.
AJ has 4 more years with WWE.
What did Samoa Joe's contract look like before the beginning of
the but
Samoa Joe was Sami Zayn, KO are on that like no cut clause thing that they have.
I'm just kidding. I was joking about what I said about AJ. I do think that he should get the first win. I think having Grayson eliminate him in the Rumble is a good idea, but I don't think we see Grayson in the Rumble quite yet. He's still too young for that, in my opinion.
I agree.
Huh?
I think he was on Raw.
He was on Raw, but so is Cross. Like you can't those things don't matter.
He cut a promo.
Cross had a fucking match on Raw.
I think the promo means more to Vince.
I don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with that.
I will say this right now. This is my hot take, really quick. Grayson Waller is the next big mainstream WWE guy.
Heel.
No.
Like the next Miz?
Yeah, I think he'll be bigger than the Miz. This guy is beautiful. The guy is beautiful.
He has a point. The way that NXT is going and the way that they're developing their talent, I think Grayson Waller is the next big thing. He's good on the mic. He's good in the ring. And he has the look that Vince is looking for.
Is Miz done being that guy?
I don't know. I think Miz still has a couple of good years in him before when Grayson Waller debuts, and I think it's going to be interesting to see.
Because Grayson is a huge deal in Australia. He was on Survivor Australia. He's a huge deal there.
Yeah, I do not like the way the WWE is getting their stars now. I don't like this. I don't like the NIL. I don't like that it's just reality stars.
You're gonna hate Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah,
the name already triggers me. The name already triggers me.
Okay, but so you remember that you remember that promo where Casey set up the match for next week, the 6-woman tag?
Yeah.
Tiffany Stratton was the pretty blonde girl that said, "My daddy wouldn't want me in this match."
I did see the promos leading up to her. She's like, "My dad told me that you should always buy the most beautiful things. That's why my tits are huge."
I love her. I think she's the next Trish Stratus.
Of course you do. She's being sold to you. She's your next T-shirt purchase. Like they've won, Moise. They beat you. They win.
Damn it, she is
Braun Breaker. I'm not sold on Braun Breaker. I don't think that he's a bad wrestler. I don't think that he doesn't have a great look. I don't like that they are giving him what looks like a gift wrap present of the division of what NXT 2.0 is. And I'm going to repeat the same thing I said about Jade, okay? I don't like that this match was two baby faces fighting over the old school and the new school. I did not like that at all because it didn't help either of them. It did not help Braun to the point that if Tommaso would have been a heel, and I know he was quote unquote the de facto heel, but if he would have been an actual heel and then Braun wins, then he's a champion. In this match, for me, who's someone who liked old school NXT, he's not a face to me. He's a heel. He's a villain. He's somebody who's striking away at something that I love.
I agree.
I don't like that, and I don't think that this was the right booking decision, but I know I'm in the minority, I guess, like from what it sounds like from the majority of people that I talk to.
I think the only way I would be okay with this is if he had
sure the fuck didn't defend me in our group chat today?
I had disappeared. I was doing some stuff.
You were taking shots with them. You were kicking me while I was on the ground.
I'll put it like this.
One second, Elias. Matt, if Braun had a Paul Heyman or a Malcolm Bivens or a Robert Stone with him, would you care more?
If he was a heel, I would have cared more. Because then it allows me to be okay with being upset. I don't like Jade. I'm upset that she won. She's a heel. That's the way it's supposed to work. Braun is supposed to be my face, my champion, my good guy. I don't like him. It looks like it was gift wrapped and handed to him. And I don't feel good about him winning and defeating the person that I do like in Tommaso Ciampa.
I get the point of why they did it. I don't like it because I thought this should go in a third round to add a little bit like more heat on Braun Breaker. If he would have lost this one, him go haywire and just beat the shit out of Tommaso.
Who's the number one heel in NXT 2.0?
Tony D'Angelo and Grayson Waller.
Why not give him the belt first? Beat Tommaso Ciampa. Be that heel that everyone's...
I'm telling you, I think Vince is in love with Grayson.
Then that's going to hurt NXT at the end of the day. Like, his love for these guys makes it difficult to book these good angles and stories. What is Braun's next? We all asked the question, what is Bryan Danielson and what was Paige's next things after their match, right? What is Braun's next thing?
Pete Dunne.
Huh?
Pete Dunne.
I don't know, because Pete Dunne could be done after this thing with Tony D'Angelo.
I thought he signed.
Yeah, Pete Dunne just re-signed.
Yeah, he re-signed.
But I'm not saying
Vince ain't calling him up, Elias.
Vince will never call up Pete Dunne. He is too small. He is too short.
He's too much like
I don't know then.
Vince won't call him.
I can see.
And do what with him? Put him against Brock Lesnar to get eaten? Put him against Bobby Lashley to make Bobby Lashley look tougher? Put him against Roman Reigns so that he can take a Superman punch? What would Pete Dunne do on the main roster in WWE?
Mid-card
besides
title. That's
lose?
Basically it. Mid-card title.
Beat Shinsuke. And yeah.
Beat in US title. That's pretty much it.
Beat Shinsuke. That would be what he does on WWE. That would be it.
But I will say, I don't know what's next for Braun. I think I will agree with Moise. I think Pete Dunne is the next challenger. But after that, who do you put against him?
Ooh, what if it's Walter?
Oh, that'd be so good.
That will actually be a match I would like to see.
I would love to see Walter. I'd love to see Walter and Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne and Walter had a match, didn't they? Wasn't it on Targo?
Yeah. That's who Walter won the title off of.
Yeah, the NXT title, the NXT UK, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. No, because he first won it off of Tyler Bate.
No, Pete Dunne won it off of Tyler Bate.
You're right.
Retained against Tyler Bate twice.
You're right.
Yeah.
God, those were great matches. Where's Tyler Bate? What happened to him?
He is the NXT UK, and they just won something, a title over there.
Mountains?
Yeah, Mustache Mountain.
Oh God, I miss Tyler. I need to look him up again. I fell in love.
They've had
with
some
that man.
pretty good matches in NXT UK. I need to get back into it because I've seen a couple of matches that caught my eye, especially with Isla Dragunov or Isla, whatever his name is, Dragunov.
Dragunov. We all say we need to get back into some of these wrestling shows, and we never get to it.
I have no time. I will not get into NXT UK. I will not.
I need to just catch a couple of matches to see what's going on.
Look up some matches. There you go.
Yeah. So, but yeah, what else is next for? We're saying Walter, we're saying Pete Dunne. I could probably see Grayson Waller or Tony D'Angelo turning on Braun Breaker and actually going after the title themselves.
Is Tony D'Angelo a face right now, or is he a heel?
He's a heel.
Why would he turn on Braun Breaker?
Because they're all part of the NXT 2.0.
But that doesn't matter. He's a heel. Like they just had. I mean, I don't know. See, that's my problem with this 2.0 reboot is they didn't do the reboot with characters ready to build off. They just did it like we're the 2.0. They did it like a faction, but then the faction took over. Like now you have to have like good and bad guys inside the faction. Anyway,
faction. Yeah.
Fuck.
But
is Ciampa gone? Did Tommaso leave?
No idea. At this point, people are thinking he's done with NXT. He might go to main roster, or he's actually done with the company.
God, you know what? If there's one person that I want to see go to the main roster and do something big, it would be Tommaso Ciampa. He can compete with big guys. He has the agility of smaller ones. Like he could be total up card. He could win a championship. Like I don't see any reason why he could not win a championship.
You could have him as a super babyface if you tell the whole next story, but I don't think Vince knows about the next story.
No.
And I guess I don't know if him going to the main roster without somebody like Johnny Wrestling or a friend in his corner in the like the kind of the eyes of like the audience.
They just cut Timothy Thatcher too, who was his partner.
There's no way he's around much longer. There's no way.
What is there for him to do? Say if they put him up there, I think one person that he can work with and that will probably work is Cesaro.
You know, as I do not have hatred towards Cesaro, even though sometimes it may come across like that. But like Cesaro has reached his limit. He's not going anywhere else. There's nothing else is happening with Cesaro at all.
Especially after day one, losing a 2-on-1. No, yeah.
I remember we had this conversation about him when I said like he's never going to win a title. And I remember which one of you.
I hope that he gets a title.
I think it might have been Moyes that was like, no, he's going to win this. He's going to win. I was like, no, he's not.
No, I told you he was going to beat Seth Rollins, and you lost a bet to me. Remember?
Yeah, but after that we had a conversation. I was like, but what are they going to do with him now? Like he's not going to do anything. And you're like, no, I think he's going to compete now.
I think
Elias. Okay. Hold on. We got to go back to Elias real quick because Elias, you need to come clean right now because I told you Big E was not getting a rematch. I told you.
Yeah, you're right.
I know. Okay.
But he also has the odds to win the Royal Rumble as well.
But getting a Royal Rumble win does not justify a rematch.
No, I think it looks better, Matt.
Get really a rematch.
Matt, I'm with you here, but I think if you
but let him lose the rematch. Let him lose the rematch, and then let him win the Rumble. Yes.
Have Brock destroy Bobby, or vice versa. Have Big E win the title. Because you can go back to two stories now. When he beat Bobby for the title, he cashed in Money in the Bank. Now Bobby can be like, oh, now you have to face me when I'm ready for you. And you can overcome that. Or you could be like, Brock beat me. Now it's time for me to get revenge.
But that makes too much sense. That makes too much sense in professional wrestling world. We don't do stuff that makes actual sense. Like even look at the booking of Daniel Bryan, which is one of the best booking stories of WWE with WrestleMania 30. Like the small lead up to it, he didn't win the Rumble, right? He gets a match and he's fighting against the odds. He beats Triple H in the first match. He goes into a triple threat match and beats both Randy Orton and Batista, right? One of the best bookings of WWE in their entire history.
I'll counter you with Drew McIntyre.
The logical thing to have done was just to have him win the Rumble.
I'll counter you with Drew McIntyre. That's what he did.
Agreed. He's okay. You know what? He's the best told story in WWE because he was the one I was like, yes, this is what I want, and they listened, and I got what I wanted.
Well, we're also getting Brock versus Bobby Lashley, which is something that people have been wanting for years.
You know what? During the pandemic, like 2 years ago, WrestleMania 2 years ago, when Drew McIntyre won the title, I stuck around WWE for quite a while. I really did. I enjoyed what they did at WrestleMania. I liked the stories and the people that they built to, and their direction moving forward. I liked it. I really did.
Before we go offline, Matt, you told me something about the Usos. Do you want to say it out loud? Because we do have some AEW lovers watching.
Yeah. I thought this was the best Usos match that I have ever seen. 100%.
The Usos are one of the best tag teams. Wouldn't you agree?
I don't know if I'd agree. I don't like tag team wrestling is not my forte, so I'm not going to say they aren't. You like tag team. I feel like you're a tag team guy. I feel like you like tag team.
You know what killed it for me? I was so into it, like during the Dudleys, Eddie Christian, APA, Hardys.
Yeah.
That Vince literally killed it for me.
just by oversaturation.
That's why I got into Impact so much, because they had Beer Money, they had Triple X, they had so many fun tag teams, and that's how I got into Impact.
Yeah. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's show. We want to thank Matt for joining us. I think this is going to be a common thing happening for the next couple of weeks till after WrestleMania season. So,
yeah, you know what? Let's make this a date. How about every Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time?
Yep.
And then we'll just kind of kick it off from there, and we'll hang out and we'll talk about AEW. We'll talk about NXT, and we'll kind of. Oops, I gotta mute this. And what do you want to do? Impact.
Hard to kill. We'll talk about Hard to Kill. I agree. I'm actually going to watch it, and we'll also recap Battle of the Belts.
I have a task for you. This is what I want you to do. I want you to get a notepad, and I want you to get a pen, and I want you to take notes. I want you to be like Big Show, okay?
And not write anything down. Just hold it against my desk.
All right. So
this is great. I'm so happy to get paid.
Let's do this. We'll be back next week at Thursday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will continue this conversation, and we'll actually cover all this stuff that's going on this weekend, and we'll talk a little bit about everything else.
But not Raw.
Not Raw. All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, follow us on our social media pages at Weekly Wrestling Heat on Facebook and on Twitter. On Instagram. Follow us on _Wrestling Heat on Twitter. Follow our TikTok on Weekly Wrestling Heat, because this weekend Moise will be live. So, and a task: if you see Moise on Hard to Kill, take a picture and post it and tag us on it. As well, follow us.
You'll see me in the main event. You'll see me.
I'll give you $1. I'll give you $1.
Also follow us on our Twitch at Weekly Wrestling Heat TV. So, from everybody here at Weekly Wrestling Heat, we are officially out. Peace.
Bye.